Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tayler Yarish Show. You're here. We appreciate your patronage. Is that the right word? No. I think that only applies if you pay for something. You know? We appreciate your viewership. Is that a word? I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Headphones sound weird. What can you do? Yeah, it's been a week since I saw each other. Since we saw each other, we don't see each other. You're just listening to this or watching this. If you're one of the two people on the YouTube, say hi to my mom. I'm a little tired. I just literally just walked into the door. Um, Today was a travel day. Travel days are always, I don't know what it is. They just, they kick this shit out of you right in the asshole there. Coming back from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Went down there for the World Series of Comedy Festival. We'll get into that. But yeah, fine, travel day, it's whatever. It's just, it just sucks. You're going to buy food you don't want to eat. You're tired. You go for the venti Starbucks coffee instead of the grande. You'd probably be okay with the grande. It doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything anyway. Didn't get a lot of sleep. Had to wake up for the flight, but I was like, you know what? Hey, the Airbnb I'm staying at has a washer dryer. Why don't you just do a quick load of laundry before you go to bed? I walked in the door at midnight. Just do a quick load of laundry. That way you just go home with some clean clothes. You don't have to take it to the laundromat. No such thing as a quick. You can't, there's no quick setting for the wash, I think. Well, maybe there is for the wash. You could wash something quickly. The drying is just, I was about to say physics. That's not the right word. It's, that's science, folks. It can only dry as quick as it dries. I don't know how else to say that. That's with everything. You go to the bathroom, you wash your hands. You wash your hands for 10 seconds. You're like, that did the trick. You can wash your hands as quickly as you can get the soap off of your hands. That's how quick you can do it. But the drying, you can't, there's no quick dry. There's only dry, So it's as quick as the air can breathe on you from the thing and from the hot, You get what the fuck I'm saying. Anyway, so a little tired. It's just, I flew into Newark, and you feel like you're home, but you're not because you still got to get on another fucking train and then on the subway, and then you got to walk home. I mean, just one after another just really beats you the fuck down. But I'm still glad to be back. Myrtle Beach is, it's fine. I can't remember if I've ever been there. I feel like I've taken a family trip there. I just, I don't remember. It was probably in the last couple of years, but I feel like all the family trips in the last couple of years, where like our family's at that, everybody's at the age where like the cousins and all the kids are like getting older and they all have shit to do and they're in school or they're graduating or whatever. So like we would go down to this, we rent like a big house and then like half the people can't come. And then the people that do come, they're, doing their homework during the day and then they, go to the boardwalk at night. Or it was some shit like that. I can't remember if it was Myrtle Beach. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. But I was in, it's technically North Myrtle Beach, which is not the same as Myrtle Beach. North Myrtle Beach is basically like an abandoned I Am Legend town that just, is comprised of this couple mile strip of highway. And it was a little depressing, I really got to know this couple mile strip of highway because I didn't have a car. I just Ubered from the airport and then I just literally just walked everywhere. So you walk by the same places every day and there's just like abandoned. I don't know if it's abandoned or just closed or just, you don't know how long anything has been closed, but it's like creepy because everything down there they got a lot more space, obviously. So it's like big shit that's closed, which is like weird to see. It'll be like a gigantic sushi place and then it's just like dark, Even the shit that is open doesn't look like it's doing too well. Like on the street where my Airbnb was, there was a CVS. And this CVS had one of the largest like parking lots I've ever seen for a CVS, for almost anything. I mean, this was like an airport or like a football stadium parking lot for this CVS. And there's like 2 people in there at all times. And one of them is an employee, you know? And so everybody comes in and they just park in the first spot. So there's this whole back lot area that's just overrun with weeds and nobody I keep thinking of like, I'm on this trend with like, I try not to go on TikTok because it's just like fucking, you know, snorting a line or something like it, it's not good for you. I don't know what's happening, but it's not good. But you get trapped in kind of a TikTok algorithm world. And for some reason, all of mine is like landscaping videos. And I do enjoy them. I like watching somebody take a lawn that looks like shit and just clean it up real nice, you know? And it's like one of those fast, they speed up the video. So there's something so satisfying about somebody's hedges being trimmed. That sounds sexual. But yeah, so I looked at this CVS and I just thought of TikTok, which is probably not a good sign, but yeah, I was like, dude, somebody needs to come through here and clean this up. But then I was like, why? Why would they do that? Nobody uses it. They should really just build something else there. But you know, what the fuck do I know? But yeah, just walking pretty much everywhere. Weather was pretty good for the most part. Airbnb had a pool. It was very nice. Probably one of the nicest Airbnbs I've stayed in, which isn't saying much because I normally don't even do Airbnb, and if I do, it's like some shitty hole in the wall. You know, because some stuff that's on Airbnb, like the next Airbnb I'm staying at it's a hostel. But they do, if you could put it on Airbnb, it looks nicer. You know, it's a nice, clean app, and it's easy to use, and it makes everything look better. I feel a sneeze coming. Is it coming? God, we're just going to have to keep talking and see if it comes. Ooh, it's coming. You dirty dog. All right. And there's no way I'm just going to sneeze once. That's bad luck if I do. Fuck. Might just sneeze once. Great. All right. Well, that's my luck for the week, everybody. No, but you're not supposed to sneeze once. It's really bad luck. They're supposed to come in 2s and 3s. Nope, nothing's coming. I'm fucked. Well, it's going to be a good week. What can you do? Anyway, yeah, so I'm in Myrtle Beach for the World Series of Comedy Festival. My first time doing the festival. I don't do many comedy festivals. Kind of seem like a waste of time a lot of the time, you know, because you got to, if they're out of the way, like this Myrtle Beach one was. But I know a lot of people who have done this World Series of Comedy thing. You basically, they do a bunch of these like kind of satellite shows all over the country, these different cities, and then you do well at them. And I don't really know what any of it means. I mean, I guess you can, you know, yes, there were bookers there, and I met bookers that gave me their card, and then, you know, I'll probably hit them up, and they won't get back to me. But that's fine. It still feels nice to have somebody say, that's how, like, much I crave validation, is that I'll fly, pay a couple $100s for a flight, go to a city to do some shows that I know will most likely not grant me anything other than somebody coming up to me afterwards and saying, hey, that was really funny, which is worth it. No. But, no, people were very, very nice. And it was just interesting to see how, you know, it's interesting to see how your material fares with people that aren't in this fucking city. You forget that not everybody gets offended if you say the word Mexican, you know? It's like, hey, they exist. I don't know what you want me to do here. There is a flip side to that. There is a flip side in that I will say, and this is not being, you know, me being a pretentious New Yorker when I say this, but they would also laugh at shit that is very dumb. I will say that. And let me preface this by saying I didn't advance to the finals of the competition, And so everything I'm about to say is not me being bitter that I didn't get through. There were a lot of funny people on the show that I did, and I had a good set. I spoke to the booker afterward and the owner of the festival and like some other people. Like I had a very good set. It's just there's a few judges, and sometimes, the margin on who goes through it. And only 2 people advance out of I don't know how many. There were like 10 on my show maybe, and so sometimes the difference between going and not going is very, very slim. And that's kind of the vibe that I got. Because there's people where you're like, all right, well, you're clearly not getting through. And then there's like, it's a coin toss sometimes, depending on the judges. Sometimes they know a guy. I've never done the fest. They didn't know me. Who knows? You get what I'm saying. Anyway, the crowds, they did like the stuff that would crush. The stuff that was like really crushing was kind of just dumb, like half-baked, kind of hack premises that I've heard a million times, but for some reason just they work out on the people haven't heard those jokes before. It also it was a little bit older of a crowd, and so if I made it to the finals, you got to do 25 minutes. And I'm looking over my material. I'm like, there's definitely a good chunk of my material that would not probably land as hard with, the 60 and older crowd talking about fucking, phones and Instagram thoughts and shit. They're just not gonna grasp the subtleties of some of the technological references, let's say, that I'm making. But on the other hand, that's why you just kind of go general. You talk about, marriage and kids and stuff like that. But not to say that I think talking about your marriage or your kids is hack, because it's not. There's a way to do it and be personal and all that stuff. But I must have heard, like, on the semifinal show, there were at least like 3 comics, and this is very inside baseball, but I just want to talk about it. So basically, the premise of a lot of these comics jokes was essentially, you could boil it down to, this is how shit is now. Wasn't like that back then. You know what I mean? Because some of the comics are older. There were a few comics who were like in their 50s, in their 40s, in their whatevers, And so all of their material was just like, having sex when you're married versus having sex when you're young and single. Yeah. When I had, young people, they go out, they have sex like this, they do this. Psh, married people, we know it ain't like that anymore. And everybody goes, that's so true. And that's kind of the underlying premise for the entire set. And it's kind of frustrating after a while because, yes, you can hammer that home a million times, but so has everybody. Everybody's done that, and it just is not an original take. Of course it's a funny take, but that's why it's been done a million times. And you really have to be crafty to tackle those types of premises, or you just have to make it extremely personal to where, like, the next comic couldn't do that same material, I mean, and it's not even, I'm not even like attacking it as like a generational, like old versus young thing, because they were older. It's like I've heard comics my age do the same thing about, like, talking about dating apps as a premise. Like, dating apps suck. That's the premise. It's like, all right, well, how do you make that personal? So, they were also, like, this sounds so mean to say, but, like, they laughed harder. And maybe this is something that I need to think about. Like, New York, you almost end up matching the pace of the city. Everybody moves quicker, people talk quicker. And so, like, when you're on stage and you end up just you're like, the pace here, you just end up doing, your jokes are just rapid fire, boom, 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 punchline, 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 tag, 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 tag. These guys, like, they take their fucking time, and there's like this slow, a lot of these people have like slow southern draws of, yeah, I tell you what, I went there the other day, there was this guy there, and you didn't know what about that, and it's just like, and it's just murdering, right? And a lot of it is just fucking attitude, and they're saying the punchline like it's a punchline, and so you're tricking the audience, you're teaching the audience when to laugh, which is an important thing to do, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm trying to make the audience laugh, but I'm also trying to make the comics in the back of the room laugh. That's like, ultimately, that's where you get the respect. Like, some of the reactions that some comics were getting, I was like, really? And it's because they don't know. They don't go to comedy shows. They're 65 years old. They're in town to fucking play golf, and they're like, shit, it's a rainy day. Let's go to the comedy club. And, it's the first time they've heard the premise that men and women are different, So, it's not their fault. They crushed. And that's the fucking job, you know what I mean? So that doesn't mean that I'm going to now, you don't change what you do. I still think in the long term that having original, clever, unique ideas is the way to go, even if it takes you longer to get noticed for it or to find your audience per se. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily going after that crowd to begin with. And again, I had a good set. But sometimes, like with certain jokes, it just took them a second, Took them a little bit of a second. But yeah, it was still like, it was a good time. Saw some New York comics down there. Yeah, they did well. Buddy Adam, so he was on a different show than I was. He did well. My buddy Max, he did really well. He made it to the finals, actually. He always does well on these comedy festivals. It's so interesting. Like, there's people that are really funny, like I'm saying comics in New York, like, that are really something in my throat, really funny, that don't get their due, and they don't get booked on a ton of shows in New York, and then they go, out on the road, and they do these comedy festivals, and they just fucking crush. They murder, and yeah, it's just a shame that they don't get the old recognition when they are in town. But yeah, my show was on Wednesday. Got in on Tuesday because there was a show on Tuesday, and I wanted to watch the show to kind of get the lay of the land. And I got in early, and I couldn't check into my Airbnb until like 3, so I'm like, all right, what do I fucking do here? And I was either going to go to the Ripley's Museum or mini golf. Those were my two options. And the Ripley's Museum was a little expensive, and I've been before. I mean, I've been mini golfing a million times, but you could do that a billion times, So yeah, I took an Uber to a mini golf place and paid for 3 rounds of mini golf by myself. Was it sad? No, it's only sad if you make it sad or if you feel sad. And I didn't feel sad. I did kind of put the whole thing on my Instagram story. So it kind of felt like I was doing, like I was accomplish is the wrong word, but like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, if I make this content somehow, then it's not a total waste of time. Like, there's something about, I think it's funny to go and play mini golf by yourself, but it's only, is that bad that I'm like, this can't just be funny to me? Like, I want to share this online. You know what I mean? I can't just keep that as a just a story and then tell it as an actual story. When I see somebody, I have to put it on my story. It's kind of sickening, right? But that's kind of the fucking age we live in. Like, I think it's funny. I think people got a kick out of it, of me playing mini golf by myself, like around all these families. Yeah, they were not ready for. I got there like right as the place opened, which they weren't even like Like the woman was like eating her breakfast behind the counter when I came up, and she was not expecting me. And I said, just honest, I'm like, yeah, got in. This seemed like a fun thing to do. She's like, all right, and yeah, I'm like, can I put my bag somewhere? She's like, you want to throw it in your car? I was like, I don't have a car. She's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm just a man who needs something to do. I just want to put a ball in a hole before I go check into my place. Is that so bad? So I don't know. I kind of got a kick out of it. Just kind of like this helpless nature of like, can you help me have fun? I'm in town and I don't know where to go. And there was a fake waterfall outside, and this seemed like a fun place, and you have a fake dinosaur outside as well, and so I wanted to come be a part of it. Can you help me be a part of it? And they're just like, why are you alone? You know what I mean? Like I was way more into it than I probably ever would have been if I was with a group of people. Like I was asking her question. I'm like, oh yeah, how is the indoor course? How long does it typically take? Like, should I do a couple courses? She's like, I'd say one course maybe takes like 20 minutes. And that's probably factored in for like a group, because I fucking blew through that first course. I mean, your boy can shoot, but they were also not very hard. Yeah, so I did the indoor course, and then I went outside, and it was really hot, kind of not having a fun time. And then more families started to come, and then I got the text that I could go into my Airbnb, and I got the fuck out of there. And I only paid for I played like 1.5 courses, but I paid for 3. But it's somewhere out of New York, so it costs a third of the price that it would in New York. Oh my god, dude! If they had mini golf in New York City. First of all, the space that you would need, it'd be like a fucking $100 a pop, per person to do mini golf is fun. Okay, I hate when people shit on mini golf like it's not fun or like it's immature or some shit. It's not. It's a good time. And yeah, do you get way too competitive? Yeah, but that's part of the fun, dude. That's part of the fun. It's so low stakes, and you could pretend like you're a fucking professional goddamn golfer. And why? Like, I don't understand why golf doesn't incorporate some of the fun elements of mini golf. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they drive it down the fucking range, 300 yards. I don't know what's impressive. And then they get to the green, and then they just putt it in. You know what I mean? And then it's just about who can shoot the straightest fucking line or whatever. No, you should drive it down 300 yards or however long it takes, get it up onto the green, and then there's the hole, and now you're just on a mini golf course. That would be so much more entertaining. If you see fucking Nicholson or whoever the guy is, drive it down there, and then he wedges it up on the green, and then now it's not just an easy putt in. It's like, okay, now you got to shoot it through a windmill, Phil. Wouldn't that be so much more entertaining if you hit it and he got it in the hole, and then it went down another hole through a tube, and then just boom, shot out a thing, and maybe it gets in? That'd be so much better. Right? Then you could actually like differentiate the courses. I flip through the TV sometimes. I see golf on. I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't matter where it is. It's all just the same green, slightly hilly. I know golf people are probably like, it's very different from course to course. It's not like that at all. But you know what I'm saying. It's not as different as if it was a different mini golf course at the end of the driving range or whatever you call it. I don't like the sport. Whatever. I'm just trying to help you out, golf. I'm trying to make you more entertaining, because right now you're pretty boring. A little boring. Okay? So, figure it the fuck out. All right. That's rant over. But yeah, anyway, overall, good trip. People down there are a little wacky. Both of my Uber drivers were from New York. Both of them moved down there for not pandemic reasons. Like, they moved down before the pandemic, like old dudes. I guess that's where people retire. I always thought New Yorkers went to Florida. Myrtle Beach kind of seems like Florida light. Some of the fucking people. I guess it was like bike week, like motorcycle bike week because the whole entire weekend, or the whole week, people, there were just so many motorcycles. And it was like they all got in a Facebook group and they were like, hey guys, no helmets. Sound good? And everyone was like, yeah. No one, I saw 3 helmets the whole fucking time. And loud bikes. And they were all motorcycles that weren't, not your dad's motorcycle, not just a classic Harley Davidson. They're souped up. They all had neon. At night, it literally looked like, what was that movie? What was that Jackie Chan movie? Rumble in the Bronx, where the street gangs, they always hung out in these clubs. It was neons and all their weapons, they'd have a chain and it was neon for some reason. That's what it felt like. They would roll down the street and they're screaming, and then they're followed by those dumb looking fucking 3-wheeled. You see those they're 3-wheeled motorcycles, and then behind them were the 3-wheeled, what's the car, most horrible investment of all time? It's called a slingshot, I think. I think that's what it's called. It's called slingshot. Not going to be your daily driver. I mean, you got to have 2 other cars if you're going to get that dumb piece of shit. It's just 2, I think it's 2 wheels in the back, 1 wheel in the front. And then the whole thing is kind of exposed. It's a souped up adult version of a go-kart. But yeah, nobody's taking that to work on Monday morning. A slingshot. Dude, can you imagine? You're a girl, some dude picks you up in a slingshot. What are the odds that it's going to work out? You know what I mean? I feel like you got to, if you're going to buy a slingshot as a dude, you got to already be with the girl. You know what I mean? Or you got to ease her into the fact that you own a slingshot. At least for me, every time I see a dude in a slingshot, it's always the same type of dude, just Jersey Shore looking fucking backward hat douchebag. And I'm like, what are you putting out there right now? It's like the Axe body spray of cars. It's just you're douchey. I don't know. Maybe I'm just jealous because I don't own a vehicle. I mean, I drive a fucking moped. That's not dropping any panties either. So I can't speak. I'm not bringing that down on bike week. You see a bunch of, 20 motorcycles roll by, and then I silently scoot on by. I can't even keep up with them because it only goes 45 miles an hour tops and, craps out after 25 miles or whatever. I don't know. What can you do? Anyway, folks, we'll call it. That's the podcast for this week. I know I talked a lot of inside baseball shit about the festival and comedy, but, that's, you're listening for a reason. So yeah, got some, this is important. Should have said this at the beginning. The Yarbar Comedy Show, for those of you that enjoy that, we are taking a brief hiatus from the show because we have to find a new venue. So yeah, we're probably not going to have a show for most likely a couple months. We got to find a place. We're also trying to take a little bit of a break to reevaluate the show as a whole and see how we can improve it and, find ways to monetize and not even just and put it back into the show just to make it a better show and get better, cool comics there, and we can pay everybody, and that's ultimately the goal. So yeah, that's what we're working on. I am going to take a cold shower and take a fucking nap because your boy is tired. That's it. I'll see you next week. Have a good week. Stay safe out there. Goodbye.